Siguli. Hello everyone. Welcome to Ukwakwa, Our Foods. Today we're going to provide a brief overview of bartering with a focus on bartering for Indigenous foods, crafts, skills, and knowledge. We're also going to talk about a bartering event our friends hosted at their farmstead. We hope to have more on our foods in future videos, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and click on notifications for new uploads. I want to start out by saying it's okay to be nervous about bartering. We have to remember we are the product of generations of removal, relocation, colonization, and assimilation. Our ancestors had to lay down much of their traditional knowledge, and many of us are just now picking that knowledge up and reestablishing our relationships with our food, language, history, and culture. The bartering that we support isn't about preparing for the end of days. A lot of what you find online about bartering is focused on preparing for an apocalypse. That's not what we're about. This is about supporting a microeconomy, supporting local producers and artists, sharing surplus with your community, self-sufficiency, personal sovereignty, and not using colonized currency to get the things we need. Here at Ukwakwa, our trades have included a wide array of stuff including salmon, venison, elk, berries, maple syrup, salsa, pickles, chili, jam, honey, meals, teas, medicines, pottery, along with things like horse manure, singing lessons, stories, home construction, haircuts, and helping in the garden, and even a 1980s He-Man castle. In fact, Roger Cook, a retired Mohawk ironworker, made the sign for our homestead in exchange for some custom beadwork I made for him. We want to encourage people to open their minds and see that everyone has meaningful ways to contribute and help each other out. When we offer our seeds and foods to the community, we do so on a barter system. There are lots of reasons we want to leave money out of the equation. Primarily, people tend to think of their worth to society in terms of salary. I think that's absolutely heartbreaking. When people want some of our corn and ask how much it costs, I let them know we don't sell it. Rather, we trade for it. Sometimes they get discouraged because they think they don't have anything of value to offer other than money. That's disempowering to our people. Our people are a wealth of knowledge and skills that our capitalist, colonized economy doesn't value. Think of traditional knowledge versus college degrees. When I talk with some of these people and we end up trading for things like finding medicines, sharing stories, help in our gardens, they are empowered and know that their knowledge and skills have deep value. How can you ever measure that with a dollar? It's difficult to assign value to traditional foods, crafts, skills, and knowledge, and not necessarily value based on the capitalist dollar. For example, our foods are often quite labor-intensive and more scarce than we would like. And different years or different seasons can bring different yields, so labor is often not reliable when you think of the chances of a bountiful harvest, forage, or hunt. For example, a few years ago, our corn co-op had a great corn yield. 1 hour of work produced 2 pounds of corn. The next year was not so great. 1 hour of work produced just 1 pound of corn. Additionally, supply and demand might not necessarily impact the value of a product, but it might impact a person's ability to be generous with their trades. Be open to conversations about the labor that goes into some of our products, because there can be a lot of misconceptions about what it takes to get the product to a final stage. This includes not only skills and knowledge, but the tools and equipment often necessary to grow, harvest, or forage foods, or create things like baskets and planting sticks. We recently attended the first Barter Market at Kahulahele� Farmstead. Our friends, Jen and Tony, opened up their backyard one morning for a small group of masked-up people to gather for a socially distanced outdoor bartering event. People brought all sorts of produce and crafts to trade with each other. This has been Jen's dream for a number of years. It was great to see it come true and to participate in it. She explained this event was about small economy, small food, local art, local craft, and supporting each other in a sustainable way. The only rule, no money. We may have even talked her into hosting a seed exchange early next spring. As we check out more pictures from the Barter Market at Kahulahele� Farmstead, we'll share some basic bartering etiquette tips that we like to follow. Be respectful and kind. This isn't a competition, and we shouldn't try to squeeze the best deal out of people. Ask questions about what you're asking for in a trade to get a better understanding of what you should offer. Share information about what you have to offer, including how much work goes into what you are offering. Understand that it's okay to decline, but do so respectfully and consider offering alternatives. If you're fortunate to have an abundance, be more generous with what you can offer in a trade. You can even consider gifting your goods or services to people that have helped you in the past or are in need. Our communities grow stronger the more we help each other out. In 1941, Stadler King wrote a story about his mom making baskets and using them for bartering. During this time period, many Indigenous people made sturdy and beautiful baskets for tourists and for everyday uses.
It would take about 3 days for one person to make a dozen baskets. Sometimes some women would go together and hire a man with his team to go way out around Black Creek to sell baskets. If they go to farmers to sell baskets, they would get things in trade. The farmers would give them potatoes, meat, sugar, beans, and sometimes canned goods were taken in exchange for the baskets.
We are still learning about our foods. People have different ways of caring for our foods. We're sharing the way we learned how. One of the most amazing parts about this journey to get to know our foods better is that it is connecting us to so many people throughout the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and throughout Indian country. It's also bringing us closer to other gardeners and producers in the greater Green Bay area, like our friends at the Barter Fest. If you have any methods you want to share, please feel free to drop them in the comments or send us an email. Yawa, Danito.